Hey guys, welcome into the first episode of Around the Leagues with Luke Parrish and Keenan Allstott. I'm Luke.
I'm Keenan. Nice meeting y'all.
We got a lot to get into today. First episode, got to kind of look ahead to the future. But obviously, the first thing we want to talk about is the unfortunate death of NBA legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter, as well as the other passengers on board that helicopter yesterday. We don't want to go too much into it. It has been all over the news and everything, but it was obviously a tragic event. So, Keenan, what are your thoughts? How did that affect you yesterday?
Yesterday I found out right before I was going to work. I found out probably about 2 p.m. Central Time. My mom had it as a notification pop up on her phone, and she texted me and was like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And when I first heard about it, I don't know if shocked is even the right word to hear, the right word to say. When I was growing up, Kobe was Kobe was one of those athletes that you looked up to, and I don't know, there's just something different about him. You could feel when it's real, and he just had a different feel to him. It was him, Brady, Jeter, all those guys that stayed at one spot for the entirety of their career, and between all three of those individuals, they knew how to win. They had championships between them apiece. Between the three of them, 16 world titles. Kobe obviously winning five, three in the early 2000s, and then two later on in his career. He was a very special individual. I think he was very well known and very well loved by members of LA and all throughout the globe for his mentality, for his work ethic.
Mamba mentality. It's everybody knows it. It's just one of those. And it's Kobe. Everybody knows Kobe. Like you saw yesterday with Neymar, he gave a tribute. I think today I think it was Sergio Ramos was at practice for his club over in Europe, and he was wearing a Kobe USA jersey at practice. It's everybody just knew who he was, and he had a legacy that'll live forever. And
even
Nick Kyrgios,
Nick Kyrgios, Australian Open, played Rafael Nadal early this morning, warmed up in a Kobe number 8 jersey. He transcended sports.
Yeah. He was more than sports too. It's absurd. He had such an impact on being a father, being a husband, a teammate, everything. And then the play on the court just spoke for itself, and it was definitely just something. It's hard to believe. I still don't believe it. I'm sitting here. Every time I check Twitter, I'm kind of taken aback. I have to turn off ESPN. It's tough.
Yeah. And the sad part, like you mentioned earlier, Kobe's 13-year-old daughter, Gigi, was on that flight. She, from all accounts, had a very promising basketball career ahead of her.
Yeah.
You can see multiple videos out on the internet. You can find them. Kobe working with her, breaking down plays, strategizing with her, and you can find plays where she does that step back.
That little turn, fadeaway, post up. Yeah, she had it down.
And
it was right there for her, and it honestly, it sucks.
It does. And, my condolences go out to Vanessa Bryant, the 3 children that Kobe and Gianna left behind. And, I think as the upcoming days, weeks, months, years go by, I think I don't know if the numbness will subside. Obviously, Kobe is up for Hall of Fame this fall, and I believe whenever he gets inducted, that will be a very sober moment for everybody in the sports world.
It'll be tough. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you always want to see somebody get honored the way they deserve, and it's not going to be able to happen, unfortunately. And I think it'll be a beautiful moment, but it's just going to be there's going to be a lot missing.
And just one Kobe story that I have. You look on the ESPN or you look pretty much anywhere in sports. Everyone had their Kobe story to tell. And I never met the man. Honestly, I was probably never within 100 miles of him. But, I remember 2016, April 13th, he played the Utah Jazz in his final game. Everybody knows he dropped 60, led them come from behind win in the final minutes. Very Kobe-esque performance.
Yeah.
And, that was around the same time. I believe it was the same night Golden State was going for win 73 in Oracle. And I remember following along with that game. I wasn't watching it live, but I was following it on my cell phone laying in bed. And they were talking about how many shots Kobe was putting up, and he was at 10, 20, 30, 40. On with about maybe 8 minutes to go in the fourth, and that's when he took over.
Yeah.
He got to 50, and everybody's on their feet. They're within 5, and then he just kept hitting clutch shot after clutch shot. Got the 2 free throws to get him to 60, and then obviously the rest was history. It was a fantastic night. I think that's my greatest Kobe memory, just being able to sit down and watch greatness one last time.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, growing up in the Eastern time zone, as a kid, I wasn't always up late. I had a bedtime, so I didn't get to watch a whole lot of Kobe. But the older I got, I definitely watched kind of telling of his career. When he tore the Achilles and he shot those free throws, that's a moment that's going to stick with you.
Sure.
And then that same night, the night he dropped 60 in his swan song, I stayed up and watched it. I made a point to catch his final game, knowing that he would never play again. And I mean, it was definitely a great night. Just in the basketball world, he put on a show, and as only Kobe could do, he hit buckets, he was getting points, and he won a game. And it's looking back now, it honestly it sucks a lot, but
sure.
It was a great night. And freshman year, you're winding down your last full year at school, and then
Sure.
You're sitting there and you're watching. You have something cool to kind of look up on, and wake up the next day at 8 a.m. without a care in the world. So,
and yesterday there was 8 games in the NBA, and every team memorialized Kobe in their own way, doing the 24 8 seconds. And I thought that was really nice. I thought that gesture was very nice for a man who dedicated his life to the game. Drafted when he was 17. Played for the Lakers his entire 20-year career. By the time he retired, he spent more years in the NBA than what he did outside of it.
Yeah.
And he grew up in front of the camera, and he gave the city of LA and he gave the sport of basketball something it needed post Michael Jordan. And so I think the game of basketball and really sports in general owe him a debt of gratitude for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So switching gears a little bit, we'll get back to basketball here shortly, but it is Super Bowl week. We just wrapped up the Pro Bowl yesterday. It's Super Bowl week. Playoffs are winding down. So just kind of real quick, it's been a fun postseason. Being a Vikings fan, it wasn't necessarily the best, but they did get one win. I'll take it. It's better than last year. They got stomped in San Francisco, but hey, they stuck with them for a half. And then it's been some good games. Tennessee was a shock. Tennessee was fun to watch. Baltimore, don't know what happened. I think Tennessee just kind of came out prepared. And Baltimore could have been flat. Kansas City's fun.
Strategy in that game.
Yeah.
They used the same strategy against New England. It worked against them. Took it to Baltimore. Worked against them. Unfortunately, lightning can only strike so many times.
Yeah.
When they ran into Patrick Mahomes last Sunday, they were up. They were up in the first half. Patrick Mahomes, though, him and the Chiefs, they came back and won the game pretty handily. So
yeah, we've seen it several times. Mahomes just has that stupid ability to just take over and do whatever he wants, and he's got obviously the speed at receiver. He's got Travis Kelce. Their defense kind of was under a lot of criticism early on, but they've picked it up pretty well. They've been dominant the last probably 2-3 months. So, Kansas City's fun. On the other side, you got San Francisco, who's running the table for the NFC. And this is just after going 4-12 last year. They picked Nick Bosa, not by trading up. They earned that number 2 pick last year. And Kyle Shanahan deserves a lot of credit. Jimmy G being back helps them a lot. But it's just been an exciting playoffs, regardless of who you want to win. I've caught myself several times this postseason just being like, I'll just watch the game. I don't even care as long as it's not the Packers winning. I'm cool with it. So,
watching this postseason, ideally in the title games respectively, I would have liked to seen Kansas City and Baltimore go at it just for that Lamar Jackson Patrick Mahomes matchup.
Oh, that'd be so exciting.
I think it would have been too. Unfortunately, that's not the way it worked out. Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans, they put their pedal to the metal, and they earned that spot to play for the right to play in the Super Bowl. On the other side of the bracket, I did want to see San Francisco against Seattle. I wanted to see how Russell Wilson could. It's been a while since he's been on that stage.
Yeah.
And that San Francisco-Seattle rivalry is very good. They split the season series this year, each team winning on the road, and that game would have been at Levi's in the Bay, and so I would have really enjoyed to see that. Green Bay, however, they took care of business.
And speaking back, like Seattle, they put up a fight in that Green Bay game. Second half, they came out sluggish, but second half they made a really good fight. I thought they were going to pull it off, but unfortunately the Packers hung on. And
play 60 minutes. You gotta perform in the first 30 to give yourself a chance in the last 30.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter, the Seahawks looked great. They showed those flashes of brilliance that made them great throughout the season. And unfortunately, it was a little too late, and Green Bay got through. So
yeah. So
coming weekend, it is Kansas City versus San Francisco for the Vince Lombardi. Who do you think is going to lift that trophy on Sunday night, and who do you think ends up winning the Super Bowl MVP?
Man, I've been going back and forth. San Francisco's run game's so good, but the Chiefs' passing attack is otherworldly at this point.
Oh, for sure.
But I think I'm going to have to stick to my guts and say the Chiefs. I do think.
Okay.
I think they can beat San Francisco's secondary a lot better than the Niners are going to be able to beat their speed on defense.
Sure.
So I think if Mahomes has enough time, it's going to be a tough pass rush, but I think Kansas City has a solid offensive line. You give Mahomes enough time, you get the run game going a little bit to at least give that threat. I think Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are just going to have a day. And I do think San Francisco's linebackers will make it tough. They have probably the best linebacking core in football right now. Their pass rush is absurd. They've got stupid length. So hopefully it just is a battle, and I hope both teams just come out fighting. But I do think the Chiefs win. I think Mahomes gets MVP just because it's a quarterback league.
It is, unfortunately. I think unless your running back goes in for 3 touchdowns, I think that is a quarter. Nick Foles won it. I mean, come on.
I should say before I go further, Mahomes will, if they do win, he will earn that. It's not like he's going to have some bad game when the Chiefs win. They're not going to have a good game if he comes out like throwing lame ducks. So right. I think he's definitely
I think something that's going to be very interesting to look at, Andy Reid is playing in his first Super Bowl since his Philadelphia days, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And, the head coaching experience, Andy Reid, you got to give the advantage to him. Kansas City, they've been known for that quick strike, that high-tempo home run offense. They down 24 to Houston a couple weeks ago in the divisional round. Wiped that lead out in less than a quarter. I think it was about 4 minutes, and
yep.
Game 20. So I think if they could come out and if they can put together a couple of those 40-yard plays, or get a pick six or return touchdown or something, like you said, the receivers on that team have speed. If you can get an out route and catch them down the field, San Francisco could have a long day on defense.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Excuse me, but I don't know. I think San Francisco is going to make it tough. I think if you let Richard Sherman get hot and you let him just kind of build that confidence, he's going to get in somebody's head. Just depends on who. But I think the Chiefs are really smart about saving Tyreek Hill. But if they need a big play, if they're punting, he's back there and he's going to either force you to return it and give him a chance, or he's going to force you to shank that punt and give Mahomes good field position. So you mix that up, I think the Chiefs have a good chance. I don't know. I'm just hoping at this point just for a good game. But
I was about to say, last year we had the Patriots and the Rams in the Super Bowl. More of a defensive matchup, not very user-friendly, for lack of better terms. Do you think we see something similar this year? What's your final score prediction?
My final score, I think it's going to be high. I'm going to say like 45-41.
No kidding.
Yeah, because I think both teams are gonna put up points, and I think defenses are gonna get real tired of chasing dudes all over the field. So, yeah, I think both teams at least hit 30. If
I
somebody doesn't hit 30, they're definitely gonna not feel great the next morning. So,
understand that. I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. I'm going to take the Chiefs 34-27, and I agree with you. I think Patrick Mahomes lifts his first and not his last Super Bowl MVP trophy on Sunday night.
most definitely, yeah. Dude's what, like 23, 24? He has a good chance, I would say, to make it. Actually, how old is he? I'll check real quick.
He's very young. It's amazing how many quarterbacks went ahead of him in the draft.
Yeah.
He fell to Kansas City, and in Kansas City, they've been the recipient of very good play from him ever since. So,
yeah, the Bills traded out of a shot to get him, and
right.
I think their fans are happy with what they have right now in Josh Allen, but let's be real.
You'd rather have
Pat Mahomes.
And it's like last year they played New England in the AFC title game. Game goes to overtime. Patrick Mahomes never touches the ball. If he gets a chance to touch it, who says he doesn't lift a Super Bowl MVP last year?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think the AFC. This is the first year New England wasn't in the AFC title game in 8 years, and I think if there's going to be another team that fills that New England kind of role, I think it could be the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they've got so many young pieces. It's just going to be,
and it's going to
be in Baltimore, and yeah,
if they can keep them together, I think they got a chance to put together a good 4 to 5 year stretch.
Yeah, easily. And I mean, I just saw Mahomes. He's only 24. He'll turn 25 at the start of next season. But I mean, you're thinking he's probably not even in his prime yet.
For sure. He is active. He is more mobile than most of the quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
You don't want to see him take the Carson Wentz route. Carson Wentz, the year he got injured, most would say he was going to be the MVP that year. After he tore that ACL, he hasn't been the same quarterback since. He's been much less mobile. That Philadelphia offense hasn't been able to do as much with him on the field. Mm-hmm. Many people were campaigning for Nick Foles to stay and them getting rid of Carson Wentz.
That is true. I don't think that would have been a smart move, but I understand, I guess, from a fan standpoint, that's not something you're going to. Sure. I mean, we had to deal with Case Keenum should stay over Kirk Cousins, and let's be real. Yeah. Case Keenum was fine, but he had an all-pro defense and some studs on offense, so it's not like it was.
For sure.
Just
the point is you don't want to see anything like that happen to Patrick Mahomes. He has the potential to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He could reset the record books.
Mm-hmm.
He can stay healthy, and Kansas City can keep some pieces around him to help him stay competitive, throughout the next decade. So, it's going to be interesting to see how his career progresses as we move forward.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll check back in on that next week with the
for sure
recap. But let's jump back. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and so kind of bouncing off that so far. So the NHL, they have a trophy they award at the end of the year. It's called the Conn Smythe. It's the postseason most valuable player award. And so I wanted to ask you, up to this point, without the Super Bowl being played, who would be your NFL Conn Smythe winner?
Probably Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes, okay.
We've seen him. He led that big comeback. He's put up stupid numbers. He's taken over games by himself, and you have to make it pretty far to win it. You have to have enough data, really, enough experience in the playoffs to earn it. So you can't just get there from one good game. So you could argue Derrick Henry, but he's not going to have that chance to play one more game. So I think Mahomes, just by virtue of the way he's just taken over the last few games, I think he would have pretty easily the best chance of winning that.
So my Conn Smythe, it really depends on how you define the word valuable. You mentioned Derrick Henry. That's who I'm going to go with. I think Derrick Henry has had the most valuable postseason to any one team in the playoffs so far. I think without Derrick Henry, Tennessee loses by 24+ in Foxborough. We've heard the narrative for years how difficult it is to go play in Foxborough in January against Bill Belichick, against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And
he did it.
he did it. He did it, and he did it successfully. He went for almost 200 yards in that game. They controlled time of possession. They got to the fourth quarter with the lead, and they ran that Madden shoot clock offense.
Mm-hmm.
They got out there with a win. They got the pick six on Tom Brady's final meaningful throw of the season, and they got out of Foxborough. They went to Baltimore. The narrative was, what's Lamar Jackson going to do? I think everybody was overlooking Tennessee, kind of like the year Tim Tebow beat Pittsburgh in overtime.
Yeah.
People kind of had that expectation, and Derrick Henry went in there and put on an encore performance. Again, I think without Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson might be playing for a Super Bowl this weekend. And so I think in terms of valuable, while he may not be the best player on the field this postseason, in terms of valuable, I think he has been the most valuable player to any one team in the National Football League.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny his last 8 weeks he ran for 1,200 yards or something. That's just absurd. How do you stop him? He's 6'3", 220.
No, I mean he can play small forward in the NBA if he wanted.
Easily.
Yeah.
I saw a picture the other day. It was him and Von Miller side by side at the Pro Bowl, and you couldn't tell me which one was a defensive lineman or pass rusher and which one was a running back. It's absurd. Derrick Henry's fun. And it's good. I mean, he's bounced back. I think early in his career, people kind of considered him a bust just because he was so big. He didn't really have a ton of success his first few years in Tennessee, and then now he's arguably one of the, not the best running back in football, but probably top 5, and definitely one of the scariest to stop.
And, if you look at Derrick Henry, who's the quarterbacks he's had the privilege to play with in his career?
Not great ones.
If he had the chance to play with someone like Jimmy Garoppolo in San Fran, if he had the chance to play with someone like Russell Wilson in Seattle, if he had the chance to play with one of these quarterbacks who could get the ball out to the wideouts and give him a chance to run the ball up the middle, maybe get some pass option offense in there, who's to say he's not having one of those Adrian Peterson early on in his career type. So, Derrick Henry, he's my Conn Smythe, and I'm looking forward to what he does next year.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to see what he earns in free agency either, because I think he's up for contract. So hopefully he gets paid and he bounces back and has a big year.
Yeah. So, the market for running backs hasn't been great in, the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry showed that you can win with running offense in January.
Yeah, the idea that running backs are meaningless or are invaluable, whatever you want to call it. I just think he's put that to bed, at least for now. I mean, he had a team who was, with all due respect to Ryan Tannehill, he played well, but Derrick Henry made his job a whole hell of a lot easier. So I think if you can just establish the run and you can get somebody who can consistently pick up 100, 150 yards a night, then you're fine. You don't have to have a dynamic offense or an elite defense because they're not going to be on the field a whole lot. So
I was about to say, what Derrick Henry does for your offense, he gets your first downs. You know what first downs get you? More time of possession gives your defense more time to rest.
Yep.
Derrick Henry gave you many opportunities throughout the season. Tennessee, they had trouble capitalizing on some of it. It's the reason why they were the 6th seed this year. But, when it mattered, Derrick Henry got them 7 points each time. He was putting up touchdowns. He was getting them first downs. He was chewing clock. And there's a reason we didn't hear about Tom Brady, after the first of the year.
That is true. All right, so now that football's pretty much wrapped up, we'll kind of come back next week for some recap on that. But
sure.
It's basketball season. Zion Williamson just came back. Victor Oladipo comes back on Wednesday night.
Yes, sir.
I mean, Zion has been already up to code. It's just been fun to watch. Every night he's on, I'm turning it on. I'm finding that game. I'm going to do all I can to watch him. Yep, absolutely. ESPN jumped on it. They made sure that they got the rights to cover that first night. It's crazy to see a guy so young but take over the league like he's going to, and everybody's expecting him to do, it's absurd, it's crazy, but it's earned.
And you got to keep in mind, this kid was a superstar at 15 years old.
Yeah.
You could go to any social media website you want. There was a video of him 360 in dunk games every night of the week. Dude has been a bona fide superstar since he was a adolescent. He's not even 20 yet. He's not even. He's won College Basketball Player of the Year. He was the #1 draft choice. Nobody in their right mind was going to choose anybody over him.
No.
Unfortunately, he did get injured to start this season, but I mean, he's played 2 games, and people are saying he's got a chance to win Rookie of the Year. Ja Morant has put up a fantastic season.
Oh yeah, Ja Morant's going to get overlooked so quickly, and he's been easily the best rookie in the league all year.
For sure.
And it's crazy.
And Zion, everyone wanted to talk about his dunk prowess. He won the high school dunk contest. Everyone was looking forward to him being in the NBA dunk contest. If Ja Morant wanted to, he could go win that thing in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He is absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to be a shame if he gets overlooked. He is my Rookie of the Year so far, without question.
Yeah, same.
I think if he doesn't get injured, regardless of what Zion does, I think that is Ja Morant's trophy to lose at this point.
Yeah. Zion can maybe come back and petition to win it next year.
Zing.
It's been a good rookie class, though. I mean, Tyler Hero, he's just kind of been up and down, but he's been fun to watch. He's a guy that can, on occasion, will come out and drop 20 points, and it's fun to watch. Ja Morant and Zion are going to be fun, but the Pacers are not. Their draft pick gets on the floor 3 minutes in a blowout game. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
the
Pacers are fun, but
if you look at the other person in that three-person draft class, R.J. Barrett, got drafted to the Knicks. The Knicks, they didn't land anybody they wanted in free agency. They didn't get Zion with
you told me they didn't want 4 power forwards. Julius Randle's out here killing it.
Bobby Portis is out there, just Elfrid Payton, they're killing it. I think that they're looking forward 2 years from now when Giannis gets on the free agent market. If you look at their games this year, they're getting blown out consistently. The games that they do keep close, they're not really winning. It wouldn't shock me if they got a top 3 pick this year again. And I wish more for R.J. Barrett because I think he's a good talent. But unless they can find some pieces in New York, he is going to be a fish without water.
Yeah, you can only be as good as the talent around you.
For sure.
Unless you're LeBron in his prime, but
that's fair. That is very fair.
I think
Booby Gibson back in the day.
Hey man, superstars are superstars.
They don't give you a nickname for being trash,
It's been a fun NBA season. I think the Western Conference, anybody outside of the top 8 still has a very good chance of making it. I think Memphis holds the number 8 spot right now.
Sure.
But Eastern Conference, I think the Pacers are up there, and I think they're in 5th place right now. I can't even remember, but they haven't even been healthy.
They don't get Oladipo back here soon.
They get Oladipo back. They get Brogdon should be back from his concussion soon, hopefully. Miles Turner's been missing some time. Jeremy Lamb missed a lot of time early in the year. TJ Warren's been, I don't know if he's missed time. I don't know. But everybody's been getting hurt, so it's hard to keep up. So
sure. And last year, whenever Oladipo went out, got injured against the Raptors in January, they were 3rd in the conference.
Yeah.
They were looking to host a first-round playoff series, and they had the potential to potentially host a second-rounder. They were only a few games behind Toronto and Milwaukee. Kawhi and Giannis, they battled it out last year. Milwaukee ended up getting the 1 seed, of course. Toronto got the 2, and then after Oladipo's injury, we kind of saw the decline of the Pacers as the season progressed. They got eliminated by Boston, and the rest is history. I think if Oladipo comes back, can shake off the rust in those first few games. Look at Indiana.
It's nice that Oladipo's been able to practice with the Mad Ants over in the G League. He's getting some extra time in. I don't know how much they're going to work him. I think they're going to have to ease him back in. It was almost basically a year injury. He hasn't played in 12 months. But just the fact that they were written off, I mean, that's easy to do if your star player's out half the season. And I think they made a splash in free agency with Malcolm Brogdon, but at the time, it's not considered a big move. I think it's just one of those, they got a second level guy in free agency. He wasn't one of those big names that was on the market, but he's come in. He's been an excellent point guard, a huge upgrade over Darren Collison.
Very good.
And that they've put up a fight. I don't know the record off the top of my head right now, but I know they lost in Portland last night by 10 points. On the end of a West Coast road trip, they hung in with a team without having Oladipo, Brogdon, or Miles Turner in the lineup.
And you got to keep in mind the circumstances regarding yesterday's basketball game.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody was really into it wholeheartedly yesterday. I think everybody's hearts were somewhere else, and understandably so. So
exactly, yeah.
Taking yesterday's game against Portland out, Indiana, you can't really complain about what they're doing at the moment.
No, and they're going to be fun. I hope Vic comes back and is the same player we're used to him being, but
for sure,
only time will tell. And
the Eastern Conference, everyone thinks Milwaukee has that conference under wraps. That conference is more wide open than what people want to see.
Mm-hmm.
You have Philadelphia that's going to be good come April. You have maybe the Nets. If Kyrie can get healthy and they can figure some things out, maybe they can make a second round playoff series.
The Celtics are going to put up a fight.
The Celtics, the defending world champion Toronto Raptors. Pascal Siakam, I don't think they've been talked about much this year.
No.
Kawhi left the country. I predicted Toronto to win last year. It ended up being correct. I didn't foresee all the injuries coming that helped them out along the way.
But hey, a win's a win. You got to take it.
Exactly. That's how I feel. But Toronto, they didn't fall off as hard as what I thought they would without their superstar Kawhi Leonard. They don't have the same team they had before Leonard got there. They obviously don't have DeRozan at the moment, but Siakam is coming into his own, and I think they could be a team to watch out for come April, early May.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that both conferences, East and West, it's going to be a fire shoot. I think it'll be fun to watch. It'll be hard to just predict in general, I don't think. In the Western Conference, the Clippers have shown struggles throughout the year. The Lakers have lost to some good teams. So you have to question, can they hold up in a 7-game series? The Pacers stomped the Lakers a few months ago.
For sure.
And so, it's better than, I think for fans, it's a better season than what we've seen lately. Just the Warriors kicking ass every single night.
It's true.
And running through the playoffs.
And it's like those first couple rounds. That's usually where you have the most parity. Last few years in the Western Conference, whoever's gotten Golden State, thanks for coming. You can leave. Whoever got Giannis in the first round, they got swept. It's been that way for a while. Cleveland, the years that they went 4 for 4. It was really frustrating for a lot of fans during that time. But the first round series this year, you have Utah, you have Dallas, you have Indiana, you have Philadelphia. You have so many teams that can make it to the conference finals, and I think it's going to be very exciting for a lot of fan bases this spring.
Yeah. And don't even count out the Pelicans. They could catch fire. They've been playing well lately. You put them in the 8 seed. Who knows what happens when they go up to LA and play the Lakers?
I don't think anyone can predict what's going to happen this spring.
Not at all. Which it's fun. It's all you can really hope for as a fan. Just
very true.
Have some good games and hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I like it.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else in the world of sports that you want to talk about?
There's 2 things that I want to talk about. 2 things I'm looking forward to. Obviously, we got the Super Bowl on Sunday. I think everybody's attention is going to be focused in on that. The NHL, the second half of the season starts tonight. The NHL All-Star Weekend was in St. Louis this past weekend. It gave teams a nice break. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they caught fire right before the break. As you can see, Toronto, I'm a Leafs fan. They're outside of the playoff picture right now. I think, they could string together a few wins. They could be making a playoff run. I think it's going to be really exciting to see what the Blues and what other teams in the Pacific, the Metropolitan, and even the Atlantic. The Bruins don't have the Atlantic on lock. I think there's a lot of things up in the air. NHL, it's always been a league of parity. There hasn't been too many back-to-back champs. It's always exciting come playoffs, and I'm looking forward to it. The second thing I'm looking forward to this week, Luke, Tuesday night, Staples Center. Los Angeles Clippers play the Los Angeles Lakers. I think that is must-watch TV just because of the emotion in that city. I think the sports world is going to be glued on Staples just to see what kind of tribute the city of Los Angeles gives to one of its most beloved sons.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those things where it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. You see, obviously nobody wanted to see what happened yesterday, but the Lakers and the Clippers coming back and they play each other in Staples just days later. I think it's one of those things. Sports are untouchable. They come out on top no matter what. And I think just being a fan of sports, being somebody who follows every league, it's one of those things where Tuesday night will definitely take a hold over the rest of whatever else is on. You want to watch. You want to watch that game and see the tribute that is deservingly going to be put on.
For sure. And yesterday, Tuesday night's going to be the first game that LeBron has played since he passed Kobe on the all-time scoring list in Philadelphia on Saturday night. Obviously, we saw the post-game interviews, what LeBron had to say about Kobe. Kobe obviously responding on social media. There's video on social media right now you can go find about LeBron hugging his family once he got off the plane in L.A. yesterday. Mm-hmm. It'll be really interesting to see what kind of tribute he does for Kobe, having recently passed him on the all-time scoring list. And with the circumstances regarding his unfortunate passing, I wouldn't be surprised to see LeBron go for 60 on Tuesday night. I think if there was ever a night for him to put it into sixth gear on a Tuesday in January, he's got that extra gear. He's shown it throughout his career. I think he's going to do something special on Tuesday, and I think if you're not watching that game, I don't know what you're doing. That is can't miss TV. That's where I'll be on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and don't count out Paul George either. I know a big part of his childhood was Kobe, and he grew up in the LA area. He was a huge fan of Kobe. That's why he wanted to go back to LA. I think he's going to have a heavy heart, and I think he can come out and who knows? He might go toe to toe with LeBron. They might both drop 60. They might. It could honestly. It could really be Kobe not Kobe. LeBron, Paul, Kawhi, and Anthony Davis all score every point in that game. There's like, you know what? We'll take over this game. We'll all put up 60, 70 points.
Yeah.
And see what happens. It'll be fun.
And honestly, I don't think anyone would have a complaint in the world. LeBron goes 18 for 30 from the floor. Goes 15 for 32. I don't think anyone would have a care.
No, just sit back and let them just watch them shoot. Let them have their moment really, and everybody can pay their respects on the court as they've already done off the court. So I don't know. It'll be a fun night.
I believe so as well. It's going to be special. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, I am too. That'll do it for this week's episode of Around the Leagues. We'll be back next week for some recap of the NFL, kind of looking around the rest of the stuff. And
hopefully be a little less sick. We can bring a little bit more energy to this podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Episode 2, it can only go up, right, guys? That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you guys next week.